A looming property boom. Let's have a look. Hello everybody, Florian.Heise here and welcome to an episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from realestate.com.au, originally from the Daily Telegraph, discussing the looming property boom that we're having in a bumper auction weekend to be a test for Sydney's firing housing market. It really feels like the media is essentially bipolar when it comes towards property. You'll get one article which is saying houses down 600,000, another one going housing booming, sector booming, everything up to the moon. You know, forget GME, go houses. So here we go. You know, the auction weekend. Now, before we go through this article, I want to draw your attention to this on my website on says.heise.com.au. Fake auction clearance rates exposed. And here we can just, I suggest you go through that. I've done a video going through it. But just looking at some of the information that's been data mined, thanks to the team at Fresh Canvas, at, well, the differences between the advertised clearance rates and the range. It's always going to be higher than it actually is. Because, well, real estate agents, they're a gregarious bunch, and they like to show off when they succeed. They don't necessarily like to report when they've failed. But with houses, the address never changes, so you have a unmoving data point or ID for a database tracking, and you can see if a property was at auction, then nothing was reported, and then suddenly it's for sale. Guess that auction didn't go too well then, did it? So let's have a look at this one here. So, home buyers will be under pressure. See, we need that FOMO. Need that FOMO, need that fear to spend big under the hammer tomorrow in what will mark the start of the 2021 auction season. I'm honestly, I'm glad I live in Queensland. I'm glad we don't have this whole auction culture or pressure here so much. And I'm glad we found our little fixer-upper when we did. Because just having to jump through all these hoops to get a house, it's like, when we were looking at rentals, there were so many people there. There were queues there. But, we're getting mixed messages all over the place. The real test for all of this will be March. Or maybe June, July this year. A bit later this year, once tax bills started getting hit and all the government support is removed. But, if we have an election coming, are they going to remove the support? What if they, it'll become a voting issue? What do you think will happen? I'll have a drink and you let me know in the comments. What do you think the government would do? Close to 250 properties are scheduled to go to auction, the highest volume of sales since Christmas holidays. And agents are expecting buyers to come up against stiff competition. There have already been long lines of home seekers reported at open for inspections, with more than 100 groups queuing up. Just a single in a West House last week. And people are sending me photographs from property here in Brisbane where they're inspecting, and it's long queues. It's long queues. It's going crazy. But then you've got other parts of the city where, well, dead. Ray White, Managing Director Down White, said high inquiry levels would translate into more registered bidders, or more buyers registering to bid at auctions. Buyer demand has never been so strong, and all the indicators point to continued growth, Mr. White said. SQM Research Director Lewis Christopher said sellers were in a prime position because buyers far outnumbered listings. It was a similar situation to late last year, when a frenzy of buyer activity pushed up prices, he said. It looks like 2021 will start on a high note, Mr. Christopher said. 2021 finished off with a very strong housing market. Dwelling prices were up, auction clearance rates were up, and we see no evidence to suggest that momentum has stalled. Now, the one good thing about all of this is people who are probably in over their heads, who've taken on too much, and who may start to really, doing the sums, going, okay, our business ain't coming back. JobKeeper's going to come to an end sometime this year. We need to downsize. We need to find something else to do. We need to cut back. We need to lose the house. Get that burden off our back. This may be a gift to these people. that they can get at on their terms and not on the bank's terms. You'd hope. Among the homes going to auction will be more than 100 properties spread across the greater Western Sydney area, traditionally a market dominated by private sales. Auctioneer Michael Garofalo said the high number of Western auctions suggests that the market was booming. Really? Or could it also suggest that real estate agents just don't quite know where the market is at, so they're going at auction to try their luck? Some agents in the West would only do an auction if it was a divorce or a deceased estate, but now they're realizing auctions are the way to go because of all the demand, he said. McGrath Parramatta principal Con Stathopoulos, whose agency will take 30 properties under the hammer on Saturday, said agents' phones have been ringing off the hook, even over the unusually quiet Christmas period. Most of our agents average 50 calls a day between December 26th and January 1, he said, adding, the low interest rates were encouraging buyers to spend more. This is it. This is how you get the candle-on effect. The candle-on effect refers to the change in relative prices, buyers spending more, from a change in money supply. Lower interest rates, increased capacity for people to borrow, increased money supplied. The change in relative prices occurs because the change in money supply has a specific injection point and therefore a specific flow path through the economy. That injection point, that flow path, housing. Housing. That's the political will in our country, guys. That's why my concern with this, with property, it's not from a perspective of, get into property, make $1 million or even as an architect, get into housing or property. I'm thinking further at a larger scale, at a macro scale. This is why we're seeing a nation it's getting harder and harder to specify locally manufactured goods. It's why when I go into a lift motor room and they're replacing the lift engines, the only person in Australia is a salesman. And they're replacing engines that were made in Newcastle 50 years ago. It's kind of sad. Because we're so obsessed with property. We're so obsessed. What's the point in taking a risk and being innovative? I mean, we've got a cultural problem here anyway with tall poppy syndrome in Australia. That's a big issue we've got to face. But the other one is everything's just tied towards housing, property. Our tax mitigation strategies, every bloody TV show, every newspaper article. We've got reality TV shows where people are flipping houses, guys. We've got a problem. We've got a serious problem in this country with people obsessed with property. So that our leaders are willing to, borrow against the future to prop up the present. Ray White, chief auctioneer Alex Patero, said buyers who missed out on properties last year were often paying inflated sums in hopes of ending an exhausting search for a home. And that I can completely understand that. I 100%. I can relate and appreciate that. You just don't care anymore. You're over it. You're over it. There was also a shortage of available housing in most areas, which meant buyers were vying for the same properties, he said. Well, you know why? How much housing has been demolished and replaced with beautiful apartments that look nice for the first 3 years, and then, you have to evacuate them on Christmas Eve. We're getting reports of the biggest open home numbers in 20 years, he said. Large family homes are the most sought after, but not many are listed. Well, there you go. Because here's the thing, when there's warnings put about, we've got the housing market. You've got the housing market here, and there's warnings about people, mortgage holidays and these type of things. You've got the apartment market as well. And in some ways, they're different markets. Then you've got, in housing, you've got the spectrum, the scale of housing, investor grade. You've got small family, housing. You've got larger housing. And on that spectrum, you're getting different activity. But also the risk of, if it's your house, and your mortgage, you've been on mortgage holiday, you're not coming back from not getting back from work, you're in trouble, you are going to do every single thing you can to stay in that place. Every single thing you can. You'll drop your investment property, you'll work, you'll take the kids out of private school, you'll do what you can to stay in there. So we'll have to see how this all plays out this year. I think we need to keep an eye on the investment grade stock. That's where we'll start to see the beginnings of people cutting loose, selling. And then we'll start to see as well the banks tapping people on the shoulder. So what do you think, everyone? Do you agree with this article that we've got an impending boom? Or do you think it's just more of the same, you know? The media pivoting from one to the other. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Have you gone to any auctions this weekend? Let us know how it was. If you're a fan of the channel and enjoy the content I produce here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.